Hey guys, today's Tuesday, May the 23rd of 2023, and I wanted to go over the DXY, energy, and metal. So without any further delay, let's get into it. As you can see, crude oil still chopping, still in a squeeze play, and it looks like it wants to break down lower. By the weekly, it's showing me that the histogram wants to explode to the downside. However, the daily is in kind of chop mode right here in the mobile bands. Just the daily candle is positive. Histogram showing like it wants to go up. But overall, the weekly is indicating that it really wants to push lower. We haven't taken out this high of 83.53. So the path of least resistance, looking at the weekly, is to the downside. Unless this wants to retest this up here, we'll see. But so far, it looks like more weakness could be coming into the future. RBOB looks like a little more positive because on the weekly it's a little more positive, but still in the mobile band, so it's chop. And on the daily, looks like RBOB is a little stronger than crude. It's more on the upper bands. So, and you can see that the histogram showing strength compared to crude here. Natural gas, as you can see, just now back in the band, kind of, finding support around that 237. Even if it gets in the band right here, it's still good. It's still chop, it's positive. The bad thing is that if we break below 212, that's not good because chances are it's going to test 194. But so far, everything is looking good on the histogram. I said on my last video, expect a pullback, and we did have it. Now, how deep is the pullback? That's a good question. So far, this looks pretty healthy. It's a pivot right here around 237. So that's like finding support as of now. Trading data indicates that Monday and Tuesday are positive, and then Wednesday through Friday are negative dates. So we'll see how that's going to go. In regards to heating oil, still kind of like in chop. Let's open this up a little bit. The weekly, just chop hasn't really done anything. On the daily, you can see that 242 is still resistance, and it's kind of consolidating in this range. And the candles are a little more negative, although it's in the mobile bands. But there's a squeeze play. What's interesting is that it's we're 2 days into it. Maybe in the short term, it probably wants to go up, but we'll see how that's going to play out. Yeah, metals, PPS sell signal. Now gold is digging in deeper, as you can see on the daily and the weekly. Red Hekanashi, red candle. So looks like the pressure now is to the downside, and we just had a short trigger on 518, and you can see that now the pressure, if this doesn't hold right here, 1956, it's going to push lower, meaning the dollar is getting stronger. Silver, same thing. It's actually a little more deeper. It already broke the pivot low of 24.49. It's at 23.25. So yeah, the pressure is squeeze play triggered on May 12th. And you can see that from here, we've just been pushing lower. So the pressure is to the downside, meaning dollar is pushing higher. Copper, same thing, just pushing lower. 407, 408 line in the sand, and we're below it. May come down here and test this, and if it finds support, maybe bounce back up. We'll see. Daily, very weak. Look at that histogram, very ugly. Pressure is to the downside. Platinum is actually healthy. Look at that compared to silver and gold. That 1042 is still hasn't been touched, and the 1137 still high. So it's just now in a squeeze play. It entered, it's been going back and forth. It entered the 19th, and so far, it's a little too low. It's kind of negative, but kind of still consolidating sideways. The weekly gives you a better indication of what's really going on, and it's just in chop fest right here between 1042 and 1149 within the Bobo bands. Once we break 1019, 1020, then things are not going to looking good so far. Let's go to, oops, what did I do here? I need to cover platinum. Palladium. I get these guys confused. Palladium, look at this. Chop Fest 2. And it's a little, still in Chop Fest. We haven't taken out 1453. Histogram still positive. But on the daily, it's a little more on the weaker side. It may probably want to come down and maybe test 1405. But so far, it's on the weaker side here. And that could be probably due to the dollar. Let's look at the dollar. Talking about the dollar. Look at that. Nice little explosion to the upside above the 50% right here. We have a Tom D Mark 13 here. And today, a Tom D Mark 9th candle. So I want to see if this is a little minor top and then it really pulls back in, or it's going to ignore the 9th candle and it's just going to chuck along higher to test the 104 and then eventually go test that 105. So we'll see. But so far, path of least resistance for the dollar is up. That means metals are going to get a nice little pullback this week if the dollar continues pushing higher. Let's close that. Let's see what I have here that I wanted to look at. The dollar, yep. MACD positive. We're above the weekly 20. Targets to the upside 104. There's a little resistance there, 104, yep. And you can see that we're back above the Kumo cloud. Although, I'm always concerned about this linear regression channel up here. Once it gets it, hits it, it normally stalls out and has a healthy pullback and then resumes another leg higher. So for maybe it could be A, B, C. I don't know. We'll see. But the good news is that on the short term, you are above the cloud. And if we close above the cloud, that's good. But however, linear regression channels always keep things in check, but that doesn't mean that it won't continue pushing higher. Anything could happen in regards to price action because price action is king, but I wouldn't, start, nibbling here. I'll wait for a pullback either to the midpoint, maybe deeper, would be a better discount, and then ride this wave up. But, it doesn't have to do that. It could just continue, grinding higher. So we'll see how the price action is going to go there. Let's look at some bigger value area high is that 103.90. We haven't climbed up there yet. Weekly's looking good. And let's see here. Look at the yearly candle to Doji, undecided. It went up all the way to 105, went as low as 100, and it's kind of smack in the middle. You can see that right here is a little resistance level, and it's undecided what it's going to do. On the, what is this? The quarterly, you can see positive, monthly positive, weekly positive, daily positive. This pivots up here, that 105 area, and you kind of have, 1, 2, 3, 4 inside monthly candles on that one. Let's look at levels before we get out of here. And you can see that this is holding right here, 103. This is support. I think that was last month's high. And we hit this pivot here. We stalled. Maybe we're going to test 103.63. And this is long term. This is for probably for between now and June. Targets 104.27. Now in the daily, you're positive here. Weekly, you're positive here. Monthly, you're positive because you are above the midpoint. So that is good news for the bulls. So we're pushing higher. This is the high we did, 103 for this week. Targets to the upside if you're swing trading or scalping, 103.98 all the way to 104.33. Yep. And we already overextended on the daily. That doesn't mean it's going to stall there. It could continue pushing higher, but as of the daily, we already hit your targets. If you were going long from here, that's a nice little, area to scalp out or get out. But if he's looking for long term, pushing higher for this week, we're going to grind higher. Then those are reasonable targets to the upside. The square of 9, the same thing. Nothing's really changed in regards to the dollar. 105, what's this? Yeah, 105 is that high. 106. It was a 114, 108, and 111. So far, we are pushing higher. I want to see when we get to 106 what is going to happen, because that's the 180 degree. I'm going to sign out. Hope you like this video, and I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on the dollar, energy, and the metals.